Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews. Today you're going to get to hear from a fantastic franchise opportunity called First Inspection Services. And First Inspection Services is a home inspection company that is quickly establishing itself as a national leader in home inspection. And this is part one of a two-segment interview. So enjoy, and we'll see you again soon. Patel and Craig Auberger of First Inspection Services franchise opportunity. And Cal and Craig are both going to discuss their experience, the First Inspection Services franchise opportunity, and a little bit about the industry and what the training's like and being a franchisee. Hey, Cal and Craig, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good, thanks. How are you guys doing today?
Doing wonderful, thank you.
That's great. Craig and Cal, joining us is my co-host Don Johnson, who is also the president of Diamond Financial Services, and he's in New Jersey. And I know, Don, you wanted to say hi to Craig and Cal.
Yeah, guys, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Personally, my wife and I just bought a home a couple of years ago, so we know the importance of how valuable your company's services are.
Well, Don, we're delighted to have the opportunity to talk with you.
Great.
That's great. Guys, we'd like to start off by asking our guests, where are you calling from today?
Actually, Marty, we're calling from Springfield Township, from Craig's home. We were going to have the call from our office, but unfortunately Craig got a little sick yesterday, so we decided
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we decided to shift over here, and we're just doing the call from here.
That's great. No, we really appreciate that. It's actually, Don and I got hold of one of the Ohio newspapers. It was probably several months ago, that wrote a great article about you guys. It was called Inspector's Franchise, and I just thought it was such a great article. I said to Don that we had to have you on the show. I just thought it was very inspirational.
Thank you.
Cal and Craig, what were you guys doing before joining or starting the First Inspection Services franchise opportunity? A little bit about your backgrounds.
Well, Marty, for myself, this is Cal. For myself, before getting into the inspection business, I was actually I've always been an entrepreneur. I've been involved in opening up a T-shirt shop, retail shop out in Colorado. I also opened up a hotel. Since then, moving to Ohio, I have consulted several companies with starting up. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been in that whole startup development of, being in business for yourself.
Right. Absolutely.
That's always motivated you, Cal? Just trying to get a business up and going and being successful is a real motivation for you? Definitely.
That's one of the biggest things for me is, and I've read E-Myth, Revisited by Michael Gerber, and every business that I have started up, I've always tried to set up systems in place and run it as if it was a franchise.
That's terrific. Yeah, we had him on the show, Cal. Yeah, he was fantastic. It's one of those must reads, I think, for any franchisee.
Oh, definitely. That's the first book that we actually give to all of our franchisees when they come on board.
That's fantastic. That's great. How about yourself, Craig?
Well, my background was, my father was a very large builder here in Cincinnati, built over 2,000 homes, and certainly was born and raised in that industry. I went into the real estate business. I was a broker here and president of a company with about 200 agents back in the 80s, and that merged, and I then went into the appraisal industry, started an appraisal business here in Cincinnati, and ended up working with the American Association of Certified Appraisers, mm-hmm. which was an organization that designated and certified appraisers for about 12 years. Wow. And through all that, got the opportunity to sit on the board of the Appraisal Foundation in Washington, D.C. for 5 years and see that industry emerge. And I call it semi-retired a few years back, and Cal and I met at a Bally's fitness place, and we started talking, and we decided to fire this thing up.
That's fantastic. I understand you also teach, too, Craig, a little bit about home inspection and real estate. Was it at Hondros College?
Yes. I've taught for Hondros College since 1983, and they are the largest real estate college here in the state of Ohio, and I love teaching. I've done seminars, frankly, Marty, in over 150 cities.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So I truly enjoy giving the knowledge back.
That's terrific.
Yeah, Marty's a teacher, too, so you guys have something
that's why it caught my attention, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you guys make a nice team, nice partners with both.
Yeah, I thought it was a great story that both you guys coming together, to form this fantastic franchise.
Oh, thank you very much. We're dear friends at this point.
That's great.
Yeah, I wish Marty and I could say that about each other.
That's a good one, Don.
Now, can you describe the history of your organization, please?
Well, we started about a little over 4 years ago, and really the whole thing was to be honest in this business, to be truthful, to really attempt to do home inspection as we believed with core values where we came from. Mm-hmm. And, honestly, 4 years have gone by like the blink of an eye.
Right.
We are extremely selective with franchisees and people we bring onto the company. But, I think we've been quite blessed with where we've come from the beginning.
That's great.
And, just to add to that a little bit, one of the things that we've done from the beginning is we've always brought on people that had great qualities such as integrity, ethics, just good, honest people that want to help the community be able to give back. Because when you look at a home inspection, really it's a educational process. We're trying to help people learn about how to, maintain your home, what to look for, how to prevent things from happening so that when you go to sell, it can make it a real clear and an easy transition, I should say.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice service, just not inspecting the house, but educating that homeowner on, while they're living there, what to look out for, the maintenance of their home. I think that's important.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, I read in some states too, guys, that home inspectors they don't need to have a license. And a lot of inspectors just come from they just have a background in construction. So I think this is where your service and your franchise plays an important role in the whole industry, actually.
No, definitely. And, Ohio is not a licensed state yet. We are licensed in the state of Kentucky where licensing is mandatory. And, I believe that what we're doing is we're really, again, we try to educate all of our inspectors, and they have to go through a pretty rigorous training requirement prior to even beginning to do their own home inspections. They have to go through at least 80 training inspections.
That's great.
And so that could take a while, but at the same time, that proves their commitment to the company. It shows their commitment to the industry and the profession.
It sure does, and that's without pay, too, isn't it, Cal?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something.
I was just going to say, over what time period does that cover? You're doing 80 inspections.
It can vary. It all depends on you as an individual. That's one of the other key things that we do is when we bring people on, and they range from different ages, different ethnic backgrounds. We've had women, men train. It all depends on how you feel comfortable. We're never going to push you and say, hey, you've got to get it done within 2 months. We'd rather make sure you feel comfortable and we feel comfortable before even sending you out in the field. We've had guys do it in as quick as 2 months. We've had some take 8 months. So, again, it really depends on you as an individual feeling comfortable knowing the information, being able to provide that quality of information and education to the potential buyers or sellers.
And also, as well, through this whole thing, we are watching, we are doing diagnostic work, and honestly, we have to be comfortable with it, too. So, I mean, it's kind of a joint agreement during that time of, okay, we think you're ready.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just on something I just thought of, how has the current real estate market affected your company right now? I mean, the real estate market's really, for the most part, nationwide. Has that slowed things up a little bit with you guys right now?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Marty. Things have definitely changed in the industry. It's definitely a buyer's market right now.
Right.
With that in mind, we've got an oversupply. We've got transactions that are taking a long time to even process and get closed. How has it affected us overall? To be truthful, it's affected us a little bit, but not that much. We do a lot of work with relocation companies. Right. We do a lot of commercial inspections as well. And just to clarify, on the commercial side, we actually do what's called a property condition assessment. which is a little bit different from a typical residential inspection. But so I think we've tried to diversify ourselves enough to where something of this nature won't impact us directly to a large extent.
Right, and good times or bad, you'll do fine. There are always going to be homes for sale, so I think you're in a real nice situation right now. You guys talked a little bit about the history of the organization, but maybe describe First Inspection Services franchise, maybe how you're different from maybe your competition.
Most definitely. One of the key differences, or I wouldn't say differences, but some of the things that we emphasize on are, number one, we're looking for good quality, hardworking people who have a passion about what they want to do.
Right.
We've had numbers of applications come in, and we've declined them, and it was basically based on the fact that the reason they were wanting not what our company beliefs are, which is we want to be able to help educate people. We want to be able to help our communities, not so much about financially becoming a millionaire overnight.
Right.
There's ways you can do that, and this just is one of those ways where you're going to work hard, you're going to do good work, be honest, and you will make money. You will do good, but
right.
I think the integrity of people, the ethics, that's some of the things that we're very, very picky about.
Right, yeah, those are definitely some nice guidelines. I was just going to add, if you do have the passion and you're a hard worker, then, like you said, the money's going to follow.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a big believer in it, and actually Craig is, when we first met at Bally's, he was a mentor to me, and that's one of the best things that he's taught me is, if you don't have passion in something, you won't make it successful.
Absolutely. I liked your tagline, too, that I was reading, I think it was on your website, guys, it's not your ordinary inspection company, and that's one of the things that stood out is how you guys were so selective in choosing new franchisees. I thought that was important.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about the industry, Cal or Craig, how big the industry is and what's going on in the industry?
Well, actually, yes. I mean, first, home inspection really came on the scene in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it's been growing. And, what's interesting is I really look at this industry today and compare it to the appraisal industry years back. And, of course, many people might not know this, but we went through, in the late 70s, early 80s, what was termed the savings and loan debacle, and it was the largest loss in history in terms of dollars of real estate, almost, my understanding, a little over $3 trillion.
Wow.
But the point is that necessity arose from that to very much professionalize that industry. And all of that has been happening over the last decade. So when we started this up, one of the thoughts was, in our minds, was to look at that industry and somewhat parallel it. And so from day one with our startup, we really have tried to have strong, controlled growth, very methodical. And now, when we started, I don't know what the percentage was in the United States in terms of homes that were really having home inspections done.
Mm-hmm.
But today they say it's about 77%.
Wow.
And I know, I'm sure when we started a little over 4 years ago, it was probably, 25 to 30% at that time. But the need, the necessity is arising, and I can truly perceive that at some point in time, if we have mandatory licensing in 50 states,
right,
I really believe the possibility is even there for the fiduciary relationship to change from the buyer-seller to the bank, kind of like it is with the appraisal industry.
Right.
But the loan is going to be made on a sold property. The bank, the financial institution, is then the fiduciary. Also, we're strong supporters of NACHI. There's over 10,000 members of the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, and now there's about 6,000 members of ASHI, both of which we adhere to very, very strongly.
So that's probably going to happen. It's going to help your company that more and more states are going to have this as a requirement. So I guess you guys are trying to stay ahead of the curve. And
one of the main things is we want to stay focused on the education and make sure that we're doing everything possible to keep all of our guys out in the field, all of our franchisees, and ourselves educated on the changes that are happening, not so much as an industry, but even as home construction. We've got new construction that's happening where, to be honest with you, we're finding more problems on new construction versus old construction.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
that's what they say. Some of the older, like the home my wife and I bought a couple of years ago. It was a home that was over 30 years old. I think the homes years ago, in most cases, were just built better, stronger.
Mm-hmm. Right, definitely. And real quick to touch on the industry again, NACHI, the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, ASHI, the American Society of Home Inspectors, they're both great organizations that together they have over 16,000 members. Some of those could be having dual memberships there, but organizations like themselves are great because they're really helping keep inspectors out there educated. They have national conferences that we'll attend, and that's kind of a mandatory thing for all of our franchisees, and we actually pay for the conference fees for them to go to those.
Wow.
So,
you're both doing things the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're trying.
Craig and Cal, can you guys stick around for another segment?
Most definitely.
Sure can. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Are you still worried about COVID-19? Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. Do you want to get tested but can't find a test kit at your local pharmacy? Don't worry. The Bethlehem Health Bureau has you covered. They're offering free COVID tests that you can pick up at various locations throughout the Lehigh Valley. Just go to bethlehem-pa.gov and find the nearest location to you. You can also get some helpful tips on how to stay healthy. Don't wait. Get your free COVID test today and protect yourself and your loved ones. This message is brought to you by the Bethlehem Health Bureau, your partner in public health.
Your life is made of a million moments. Moments of delight. Moments of relief. Powered by health tech, Medtronic is making more moments possible.
If you've ever dreamed about owning your own business, then this is the show to listen to. And today we have two very special guests. We're meeting with Cal Patel and Craig Auberger of First Inspection Services Franchise Opportunity. And Don, I think you're up.
Yeah, guys, talk a little bit about training for your franchise. Now, you mentioned them having to do a certain amount of inspections before they can become a franchisee. I think you mentioned it was 80, but I'm sure there's other stuff involved. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Most definitely. When we get an application in, we start with, and I'm kind of going even further back than what you're asking, but typically just even the prerequisites of becoming a franchisee, we're looking for, again, just the type of work that you've been doing in the past, the different types of, organizations you've maybe been a part of, just to kind of see if, you're a well-rounded person that can make that, make this business successful. Once we've gotten past the qualification and we've brought them on as a franchisee, we'll start off with a 4-week training program, of which 3 weeks are done here in Cincinnati at our corporate office. Basically, during that 3-week training period, they are going out in the field with inspectors. They are also working inside the office with taking phone calls, scheduling inspections, how to file all of the paperwork, how to communicate effectively with real estate agents, with buyers, with sellers, because there are a lot of people involved in the transactions, and even mortgage companies. And so we're trying to teach all of our franchisees how to communicate with all different types of people, and just really how to market the business. And it's not so much that we're giving them instruction, but we're actually taking them out and showing them how it's done. Once the 3 weeks of training is finished up here in Cincinnati, then the 4th week we spend at their location, where either personally myself or Craig will go out, and we will physically go out with our franchisee doing marketing, doing the inspection, and just being able to show them how it's done versus just giving them a manual and saying, here, go do it.
Does the franchisee, Cal, rely on the home office for getting leads and lining up inspections? Or is that pretty much on their own? And is that something else you look for in a franchisee, someone with that sales background, which, is always helpful?
Right. Well, initially we have relationships already established with relocation companies, construction draw companies, lease equipment inspection companies, different types. And so once someone signs on, they are automatically, involved with these different companies. And obviously they still have to prove themselves as a individual business that they can perform all of these these tasks. Right. And inspections that are required. But, we will help with that. As far as advertising, we take care of all the marketing supplies. We take care of doing any of the ad slicks, all of that stuff. So as long as, they let us know what dimensions, whatnot, we're able to go ahead and get that sent over. It's not a cookie-cutter template that we use. We try to really personalize it to your market. Because in this industry, from here to New York to San Francisco, we're talking 3 major different markets.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. What is a typical day like, guys, as a First Inspection Services franchisee from the moment you get up till the end of the day? Is there a typical day?
There's, I wouldn't say a typical, but most of the time. The reason I say that is, things can change when you're out there in the field.
Right.
But on an average day, you start out by just looking at your schedule, going out to your first job. Usually we schedule 2 inspections per day per inspector.
Right.
So you'll go out to your first job. Usually takes about 2.5 to 3 hours based on a house of about 2,500 square feet. Once you finish that up, you have an hour in between for some lunch, maybe do some light marketing, run into some offices, drop off some brochures, marketing materials, and then head on to your next inspection. One of the nice things that we do is all of our inspections are done pretty much on site. We have tablet PCs or pocket PCs that we're using. We take lots of digital photographs. Now, we don't prepare our reports right there on site. There's just a little bit more involved than just being able to deliver a standard comment inspection report.
Right.
And so we really like to, again, personalize it. We want to go into the details of the home. We want to be able to share with these potential buyers, sellers, what they need to do, how they need to do it, things of that nature. So by the end of the day, 5 o'clock, you wrap up, head home, and either to home or your office, and you finish up your reports. Could take an hour or 2 once you've been really trained and experienced with it, and that's a typical day.
That's great. What's been the most interesting thing that's happened to both of you since starting this whole thing?
All right. Well, my most interesting experience was probably about, I'd say 3 years ago. It was August of 2004. My wife, we have 2 children right now, a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. At the time, we just had the one, and my wife was pregnant with our second one, and I'm kind of making a long story here, but I'll try to make it short. Our expected delivery date was August 20th or something, and so around August 9th, I was actually doing an inspection. I fell off of a roof.
Oh, no.
And it was about a 15-foot drop right onto concrete. And when I got up, I looked at my arm. Pain didn't start, so I thought, okay, this isn't too bad. I broke my arm.
Right.
Blood's coming out because I've got a couple of compound fractures. So the fire's up on the roof, and he calls 911. They come out, get me to the hospital. I've called Craig by this time and a couple of my family members, and get to the hospital, and we find out that it's pretty severely damaged. The right wrist was shattered. It looked like broken glass inside.
Oh, God.
And my radial head was completely shattered at my elbow. So I was in the hospital for about 5 days, and I went through about 4 surgeries during that 5-day period. Finished up, got out Friday, probably about 8:30 in the evening. Saturday morning, my wife went into labor. So we were both at the hospital in separate beds.
I think you win, Cal. definitely having the most interesting story.
Yeah, we've got
win.
50 different franchises that question, yeah, and you certainly got that one, Cal.
So we ended up, having a healthy second daughter, and
that's great.
Our children are very healthy now. We're very blessed, and but at that time, everyone around us or me thought that we were going to shut the business down because obviously, being a home inspector, you are your business.
Right.
And so everyone was just anticipating, okay, Cal, when are you shutting down? And I said, no, there's no need to. We've established a name. We've had systems in place. And that's really when we took off on the franchising side and said, let's do this. And it's been amazing. I mean, good things come out of bad things, always.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And there's the whole beauty of setting up a system, Cal, and you referenced earlier, Michael Gerber, the ability to, you don't necessarily have to be there for your business to run, so that's fantastic. That's great.
And, from my perspective, the most amazing thing about that, too, was, here in Cincinnati, we had just a few number of guys working with us at that point and didn't really have certainly the relationships we do now with the same people 4 years later, but the way that they came to the plate and the way that they jumped in and did more than we could ever think, it was unbelievable because just as you say, fortunately we had systems and things in place. They knew what to do. They did it. They helped Cal recuperate from this, and one thing he's not saying is he had 9 surgeries in all over a period of about 2 years. So, I mean, this was extensive. And the other thing that I thought was extremely amazing is because of my business background in other areas, we have, I stated earlier, our goal is slow, methodical growth. And we are always pulling the chains back, so to speak, on things. I question sometimes where we could be, with how many franchises if it were not for that. But ironically, by all that, we have really true good quality people, and our percentage of growth per year is, every year overshoots what we were thinking about anyway. So I mean, it's kind of a paradox because the more we try to pull the reins back, the better we do. And I think it kind of shows how important it is to be selective in this industry.
Right.
Good response. What advice would you guys give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? The majority of our listeners are prospective franchisees. Any particular advice stand out as far as what you would recommend?
Well, personally, I think the number one thing is if you don't have a passion for what you want to do, don't do it.
Right.
Number two, if you decide that you've got the passion and this is something you want to do, go work in that industry for maybe a couple of weeks, a month, just to kind of get your feet wet, see if you even like doing the day-to-day operations, because everything changes daily. We can only tell you what we typically experience, but there are things that happen. Real quick, during an inspection, we actually had one house where someone, we went back to the house to finish up the inspection, and they actually had passed away. So, it's one of those things where you can't really be ready for anything, but if you go out there at least a couple of weeks, get your feet wet, see what it is daily that is going on, I think that would be great. And then number 3, definitely read E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. It's going to become your life. Make sure you're going to like it. I like your point about, working in the business a couple of weeks, at least, yeah. And I guess as the show seems like it's winding down, Marty, you guys maybe talk about First Inspection Services plans for the future.
Well, really, from our perspective, we would really like to attempt to grow at this pace as many, perhaps, as maybe 5 locations a year. I can tell you, Don, that we really, we've just recently had 2 people contact us and talk to us sincerely about a potential purchase down the road. And you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is you never know what might transpire in that regard. But our goal right now is to keep doing what we've been doing, and we feel the sky's the limit.
Right. And like you've talked about throughout the show, just find those solid people, you know, are going to be a very strong addition.
Right. Guys, we have about 15 seconds. What's the best way for someone to get more information on your franchise or your services?
Two ways, either calling us at 1-800-944-7211 or visiting our website, www.firstinspections.com. And the first is not spelled out. It's actually the number 1 ST.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you guys. You guys have been fantastic guests, and I'd like to have you back on a future show next year, you know, and then we'll talk about the growth of your franchise, because I think you guys are certainly onto something.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on the show with you guys.
Absolutely, and we'll look forward to that.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great feel better, Craig. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Great concept, huh, Don?
Yeah.
I like this slow growth, you know, process. You know, we've had other franchises, you know, that have had that attitude on the show, too. They're very, very selective as far as who they're going to select as a franchisee, you know, so I think that's great.
Just like Juice Stop last week, yeah.
He kind of had the same theme, you know. Right. He didn't want to, you know, rush at, you know, selling a lot of franchises. You know, he wanted to make sure he had the right person on board, you know.
Exactly, so important, yeah.
Absolutely. So another great show, Don, and
good job, Marty.
Next week we have a very big show. We got the guru in franchising, George Native, so you don't want to miss that. And for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com, and what other websites should we direct them to, Don?
Well, of course, franchisefunding.net.
Okay.
We've been talking about recently for people who want to know their financing options and getting pre-qualified. There's our company site, easysba.com.